Before the LED canopy, the zip lines, and the nightly concerts, this street started as a dusty stretch of pavement lined with gamblers, dreamers, and hustlers. Over time, casinos and hotels boomed. Neon signs buzzed overhead, and cigarette smoke hung in the air while the clatter of dice and the sharp ring of slot machines echoed out of every doorway. This was Las Vegas before the Strip. Fremont Street was the city's beating heart for decades. Now, as we walk the full length of Glitter Gulch from east to west, we'll count down 13 addresses that once meant something and find out what happened to them, from the legendary to the obscure. Each played a role in the city's constantly changing landscape. Stay tuned for the last one. It's the oldest story in all of Las Vegas, spelled backward. 301 Fremont Street. At this place, you might have kissed this to get lucky. When the Sundance Hotel and Casino opened in 1980, it was technically run by Al Sachs and Herb Taubman, but everybody knew the real money behind it belonged to Mo Dalitz, a mob boss whose fingerprints were all over post-war Las Vegas. Dalitz, aka Mr. Las Vegas, used casinos, such as the Sundance, as fronts to quietly funnel mob cash into the city. The Gaming Commission, however, wasn't fooled, and they eventually forced a sale. By 1987, the property became Fitzgerald's Casino and Hotel. It went with a full Irish theme, featuring shamrocks, a leprechaun mascot, and an authentic piece of the Blarney Stone, mounted inside for guests to kiss for free. In 2001, Don Barden made history as the first African-American casino owner in Las Vegas when he purchased the property. After his passing in 2011, brothers Derek and Greg Stevens bought the property and, in 2012, transformed it into the D Las Vegas. You'll hear their names a few times in this video. Today, the D stands as a 34-story hotel and casino and the second tallest building in downtown Las Vegas.
All right, guys, here's my first college football parlay. Rub it on the Blarney Stone, so I win.
234 Fremont Street. With a big, bright red marquee, you didn't have to guess what they were offering. The Red Garter Casino opened in 1972. It was a short but memorable casino. When you were done playing, they offered a signature souvenir, a real red garter that guests could take home. Better not let your wife see that. After only 3 years, the Red Garter closed in February 1975. Its building was soon leveled, paving the way for the Fremont Hotel and Casino's expansion, one of the thriving casinos at Fremont's iconic Four Corners. Their red neon sign now glows where the Red Garter once tried its luck.
For downtown, this is a pretty sizable casino floor.
118 Fremont Street. Before there was Boulder City, Nevada, there was this club. When Prosper J. Goumond and his partners opened the Boulder Club in July 1929, they did have a license to operate gambling at 3 tables. Notice there's no mention of gambling on their signage. When Nevada legalized gambling in 1931, the Boulder Club was among the first establishments to receive a full license. It was also the first casino on Fremont Street to have a neon sign designed and installed by Young Electric Sign Company, Yesco, the firm that would go on to define the look of Las Vegas for the next half-century. Most of the neon signage we talk about would have been designed by this company. The club ran for almost 30 years before a fire forced it to close in November 1956. By 1961, the owners sold the space to Benny Binion, who owned the Horseshoe Club. Binion incorporated the former Boulder Club into his own, so what once was the Boulder Club is now part of Binion's gambling hall and hotel. 117 Fremont Street. It started with a law and ended in a stroke of luck. In 1939, former Los Angeles Police Department Captain Guy McAfee opened the Frontier Club, complete with a neon sign featuring a bucking bronco and an Indian chief rising 26 feet above the roofline. McAfee is also often credited with coining the phrase "the Strip," comparing the road south of downtown to the Sunset Strip he'd left behind in California. By 1954, the Frontier Club closed, and Milton Prell, who also owned the Sahara Hotel on the Strip, opened the Lucky Strike Club in its place, featuring two 12-foot fiberglass gold prospector statues above the sign. When the Lucky Strike transitioned to the Lucky Casino in 1963, a new sign lit up the sky at 17 stories tall, with 3 miles of neon tubing and a 16-foot glowing star visible for miles across the valley. But being spectacular didn't guarantee profits. The Golden Nugget bought the property in 1967, removed the great sign, and occupied this stretch on Fremont ever since.
I'm Steve Wynn, and this is one of the beautiful suites in the Golden Nugget of Las Vegas.
113 Fremont Street. Like small fish in the sea, these places were gobbled up by a big fish. Next year, in 1940, McAfee opened the Mandalay Bar next door to his Frontier Club, a Pacific South Sea-themed lounge with a hurricane sound effect, piped through the speakers, baffling and delighting patrons. The Santa Anta Turf Club moved in around 1948. Operated by the Stearns brothers, who reportedly hid a microphone in the Frontier Club next door to pick up race wire results they couldn't otherwise get. The Nevada Club took over in 1952 and operated as a popular downtown slot joint for years. Eventually, it rebranded as Diamond Jim's Nevada Club, and in 1968, the Golden Nugget absorbed the entire block, including this address. "100 Fremont Street." This was the new star of the downtown. The First State Bank of Las Vegas stood here from 1906. The building was demolished in 1957, giving way to the casino boom of the era. The Big Bird Cage Casino only lasted a little over a year because they couldn't obtain additional Keno licenses and decided to close. The Mint operated in 1957, ushering in a new vibe to Fremont Street. Cool and swanky, but never pretentious, the facade quickly became a showstopper. A pink and white pylon soaring 9 stories, topped by a 16-foot shining star visible for miles. The Mint even hosted Patsy Cline at the Merry Mint Theater in late 1962, just 3 months before her tragic plane crash. A 26-story hotel tower was added in 1965 with an all-glass exterior elevator so you could see all of downtown, and it took you up to the top of the Mint, a renowned rooftop steakhouse. The casino sponsored the legendary Mint 400 off-road race, which began in 1967 and continues today. In 1971, Hunter S. Thompson and his friend Oscar Acosta checked in for one night on the trip that became the bestseller, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. The Binion family bought the Mint in 1988 and folded it into the Binion's Horseshoe. The hotel tower closed in 2009. Today, 81 out of 366 rooms have been part of Hotel Apache since 2019. If anyone knows the status of the rest of the tower, please let us know in the comments.
The Binion's Tower, and we just got in. Here's the bathroom. Nice big tub. 3-room suite with 4 bathrooms.
Wait, did the lights work out here?
Jeez.
32 Fremont Street. One corner, and they all stayed long enough to eat a deep-fried Twinkie. No single address on Fremont Street changed identities more often than 32 Fremont. The Silver Palace opened in 1956 with style. It included the first escalator inside any Las Vegas casino and slot machines designed to look like medieval castles. Over the next 60 years, the same corner became Carousel Casino in 1965. Then came the Gamblers Hall of Fame in 1974, Sundance West in 1976, and Sassy Sally's in 1980. As crowds and cash flowed from one trend to the next, owners tried new themes and business models to stay alive on Fremont. The final chapter was Mermaid's Casino, which opened in 1999. It became beloved for its 99-cent deep-fried Twinkies and other snacks to satisfy your cravings. Mermaid's closed in 2016 when the Stevens brothers bought the entire block. The building was torn down in 2017. Circa Resort and Casino opened on the same corner in 2020.
Nope, I just got a flush.
25 Fremont Street. This cowboy demanded you come in. The building at this address started as an opera house in 1908 and later became Beckley's Men's Store. In 1942, the Pioneer Club moved in, transforming the space into one of Fremont's most recognizable casinos. Leaning into a cowboy western theme, the club installed Vegas Vic in 1951, a 40-foot-tall neon cowboy whose arm waved, cigarette glowed, and loudspeaker bellowed, "Howdy, partner," every 15 minutes. We can only imagine that if you heard that from your hotel room, it drove you crazy. Despite ownership changes over the years, Vegas Vic became a Las Vegas icon. The Pioneer Club ran until 1995, after which the building eventually became home to souvenir shops. The good news is that Vegas Vic is still up there, still watching over Fremont Street from the same corner he has occupied for more than 70 years, even if he stopped talking a long time ago. (2123) Fremont Street. From where gambling started in Vegas to selling T-shirts, the buildings here were among the most historically layered in downtown Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Club Casino opened here in 1931 and received one of the first gambling licenses issued in Nevada. Benny Binion was briefly a partner in the 1940s. When the Las Vegas Club relocated across the street in 1949 to 18 Fremont Street, Benny Binion moved in, opened the Westerner Club, and sold it a year later. The club continued to run until May 1962. After demolition, a new building went up and became Club Bingo in August 1962, which ran until 1983 when the Pioneer Club next door expanded and absorbed the space. The block settled into souvenir shops in the late 1990s, and it has been selling Vegas T-shirts ever since.
Expert was 23 years old then. He lost all of his money gambling.
And I stayed here for one reason. I got broke, and I had nowhere to go, and I went to work.
2022 Fremont Street. Your trip to Vegas wasn't complete without seeing her. Back in 1905, like any small town, this stretch of the street began with coffee shops and grocery stores. It wasn't until 1931 that gambling began with the short-lived 21 Club, followed by the Barrel House in 1934. From the 50s through the 70s, the names were different, but this area almost exclusively offered slot machines. At 20 Fremont, there was Buckley's Jackpot Club, Starlight Sales, and Mecca Slots. At 22 Fremont, there was Golden Slot, Cecil Lynch's Fortune Club, Goldie's, and Mr. Reed's, a burlesque venue. At 20 Fremont, Herb Pastor opened his first casino, the Golden Goose, in 1975 with an enormous Golden Goose neon sign over the entrance. His buddy, Bob Stupak, opened Glitter Gulch Casino next door at 22 Fremont in 1980, featuring a neon sign that became one of the most iconic, Vegas Vicky, a buxom cowgirl kicking her leg in the air. Herb bought Glitter Gulch from Bob in 1982 and combined the two locations under the Golden Goose license until 1991. Girls of Glitter Gulch followed as a gentleman's club until 2017. The entire building was purchased by the Stevens brothers in 2016 and demolished in 2017 for Circa Resort. Vegas Vicky, however, was rescued, restored, and now she greets guests at a cocktail lounge named in her honor inside Circa.
She was in pretty rough shape, you know. She was sitting outside for many years. This is her 40th year, so she's looking really good for 40.
18 Fremont Street. The stadium that Las Vegas never knew it had. J. Cal Housels relocated the Las Vegas Club in 1949, moving into the ground floor of the Overland Hotel. They had all sorts of games, such as roulette, craps, blackjack, chuck-a-luck, wheel of fortune, and faro bank. Check out these slot machines. They were one-armed wooden bandits. Try your luck and see if you can hit a jackpot. Jackie Goggin and Mel Exper bought the club in 1962 and decked out the facade with a 120-foot neon marquee. In 1979, Mel, a sports fan, went all in on a baseball theme, making the building resemble a baseball stadium. Hotel towers were added in 1980 and 1996, bringing the total to over 400 rooms. The Las Vegas Club struggled in its latter years before closing in 1915. The Stevens brothers bought the property for $40 million. By 2017, cranes were carefully dismantling the towers floor by floor. The site was cleared for Circa Resort and Casino.
So when they heard one of the few original casinos left was shutting down,
I hate to see it change. I really do.
they were sad to see it go.
15 Fremont Street. From getting a cold one to hand grenade cocktails, they handed out lots of drinks. The Northern Club had been operating primarily as a hotel since 1912, making it one of the oldest commercial establishments on the block. It was one of 3 clubs on Fremont Street to receive a gambling license in 1931. After it closed in 1943, the space became the Turf Club and Bar, and then the Monte Carlo Club served as a swanky stopover for the Rat Pack until 1956. Believe it or not, there was a Denny's restaurant in the 60s. Coin Castle took over in 1970 and ran a solid slot machine operation for nearly 30 years. La Bayou followed in 1999, a Cajun-themed bar famous for selling enormous hand grenade cocktails in yard-long cups, and it ran until 2016. In 2017, the Golden Gate Hotel expanded into the corner, and 15 Fremont Street disappeared for good. One Fremont Street. Hello, operator. Ring 1, please. Entrepreneur John F. Miller rode into Las Vegas from Seattle on the very first train in 1905 and bought a parcel of land at the corner of Fremont and Main, right where the train let people off. How convenient was that? The winning auction was for $1,750, which is about $65,000 in today's terms. A year later, the first hotel in Las Vegas, Hotel Nevada, was built in 1906. Some called it the Nevada Hotel. It was made of concrete and had everything we take for granted today: electricity, lamps, running water, and steam radiators. It had the city's first telephone, and the number was, drumroll please, Ring 1. The hotel did have some gambling before the 1909 gambling ban took effect. When Hoover Dam construction brought a new wave of workers to town in 1931, John added 2 more floors and renamed it the Sal Segev Hotel, which is Las Vegas spelled backward. The hotel did have gambling, but not a full casino. Here are some chips to prove it. His son, Abe P. Miller, had grown up in the building, managed the property for years, and put an end to gambling a few years later. In 1955, Abe leased the ground floor to a group of Italian-American partners from the Bay Area who opened the Golden Gate Casino. They introduced a 50-cent shrimp cocktail that sold millions of cups. In 1974, the partners bought out Abe and his family from the business, and the entire property was unified under the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino name. Have you stayed in the oldest hotel in Las Vegas? Let us know in the comments. There you have it. The names keep changing and time goes on. Have you visited any of these places? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, watch another one: 13 Forgotten Las Vegas Strip Hotel and Casinos That Vanished.